Welcome back. Segment 3 of the writing process is called writer's block. Wow, who hasn't faced writer's block? You have a deadline, you have something you need to write, you know what you need to write, you sit down, it's just not coming. You can't write it. A lot of times we try to force this and it just sometimes cannot be forced. Even with a deadline, even with something hanging over our heads, we still can't make it happen. I think everybody's sometimes got some writer's block going. So how can writer's block impact your writing? How could it affect your writing? Take a second and think of one main thing. So if you went to write today and you couldn't write, what would that do? Well, beyond completely messing up your schedule, having a little bit of writer's block could hurt your confidence. Seriously, you could think, oh, well, maybe I'm not good enough to do this work. Maybe I can't be a writer. Maybe I can't attain this position. Maybe I'll never get published. All that crazy thinking that can sometimes go into just one moment of fear. So, writer's block can be a big thing, and it's important to have some strategies at hand ready to go when you face writer's block so that you can overcome it and work through it. I love this quote from Sylvia Plath: "The worst enemy to creativity is self-doubt." So we definitely don't want to make room in our minds and in our workspace for self-doubt. We need to move forward. Obviously, we want to be questioning. We want to be thoughtful. But self-doubt is a little bit deeper than that. It's questioning the very reason why we're doing what we're doing. So we want to be mindful of that and wary of that. It is definitely an enemy for us that we need to avoid. So working through writer's block will help us in that arena. So some practical tips. If we look at the research and the evidence on writer's block and how to overcome it, these are some practical tips that you can certainly implement as you're working, and when you get to a roadblock, back up and try this. So tackle the easiest section first. If you know the easiest section for you is going to be the methods section because you kind of did a protocol already and it was included, or a grant proposal and that was already included, or at least a lot of it was and you just need to change it around, start there. Or if you feel really inspired on a different section and you know you can do the methods whenever, save that for when you do have a writer's block, for when you do hit a roadblock and you need to do something easy. You can also try some free writing. Don't judge yourself, don't edit what you're doing, just start typing things in, whatever your thoughts are, kind of a stream of consciousness writing. Sometimes just by allowing yourself that bit of creativity in something that is not a very creative process perhaps will give you the block breakage that you need. Another thing is just to avoid editing. Don't try to edit yourself while you're writing, just write. Certainly, if you can fix things as you go, that's great. But don't write a paragraph and then read it and labor over it and work on it and work on it and work on it. Just write the paragraph, then write the next one. If your goal is 2 pages or 600 words, whatever it might be, start editing when you get to your goal or when you get done, but try to avoid editing until you hit that goal. Next, if you're really having a struggle, talk to a colleague about what you're working on. The research you did, the paper you're writing, your target journal, all of those things, because sometimes just talking about it can kind of inspire you and get you thinking about things and kind of help you break through the blockage. If it's helpful to you, you can get voice recognition software, sometimes even on your phone or your device, and walk around your room, pace so that you're not strapped to the keyboard typing things in or with a pen in your hand writing things down. You can walk and talk at the same time, and that voice recognition software will record your thoughts. You'll probably have to go back and do some editing, but at least some people think while they're walking, or if you don't have voice recognition software, use the voice recorder on your phone or other device to record and then go back and type it up yourself later. Sometimes you'll get that breakthrough that you need just by pacing around or taking a walk outside and letting it write itself down. So some questions to ask yourself when you hit these roadblocks. Am I taking care of myself? In our last segment, we talked about some very specific things you can do and some specific ways that you can take care of yourself. Are you following those paths? Are you doing those things? Are you afraid? Some people, I'm not saying you or me, some people are afraid to do the work. They're afraid to write because of what other people will think of them, or they're afraid of being successful, any number of things. They're afraid their work won't get accepted, they'll get a rejection, and that's going to make them feel bad, it's going to ruin their career. Whatever those things are, those fears, just set them aside. Allow yourself to think them, allow yourself to feel them, and then go, that's just a fear that I'm having. It may not be very rational, but I accept that that's how I'm feeling and just set it aside and get back to work. Right? Or is the problem with the work? Am I having a gut instinct that this is not good because the science isn't very good, or it's not very innovative, or the rigor is not here? Is there a problem with the work? I need to go back to the drawing board, back to my outline, back to my research question, back to my hypothesis, back to my data, back to the lab, back to whatever I was doing, and rethink this a little bit more, retool a little bit. So maybe the problem is with the work. And for any of these questions, if the answer is yes, then you need to take those steps. If I'm not taking care of myself, if I'm all tense and tight because I'm not exercising or stretching, take a break and go do that. Let your body, heal your body, take care of yourself. If it's that fear, as I said, take it in, allow it, write it down if you need to, and then let it go. And if the problem is with the work, then let's diagnose this. Let's figure out where the problem is and go back and fix it if we can. Okay? Questions to ask yourself. Some other suggestions that are just kind of general suggestions, not necessarily specific to scholarly writing, but if you set a regular time, make a date with yourself to do this every morning from 8 to 9 or from 8 to 10 or every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm going to do this from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, whatever those times are. Set a regular writing time so that you can make it a habit, so that all right, after lunch every day, as soon as I get back from lunch, I'm writing. I'm not checking email. I'm not getting on my phone. I'm not going to Facebook. I'm not going anywhere else but writing. That's what I'm doing. Sometimes if you get stuck, you can go back and read the literature. Pull out your favorite articles, the ones that inspire you, and read through those. Sometimes that helps. There are a lot of books on writing. I consulted a lot of these as I was putting together these sessions. So go out and look at some of those books on writing and see if they could be helpful to you. See if they give you some inspiration or some additional tips and tricks that you can implement that could be helpful. One is just to do it. Get over the drama, perhaps. Put your head down and work and do what needs to be done. Even if you're just writing the headers for the different sections, or even if you're just retyping your title, or if you're polishing something. Maybe your goal today wasn't to really work on the introduction, but you're going to switch over and do that because you need to mix it up today. You need to do something different to just do it. You've committed this time and you need to live up to that commitment. Another thing that I really believe in that works is trying humor. So write a goofy title for your article. Write goofy sentences about what did or didn't happen. Just be sure you're not including those in your final manuscript. But try to find humor in what you're doing and what you're writing, and goof around a little bit. Think of something funny that happened and write about it for a minute. Just letting your brain switch gears and think in a different way, in a different process about something different can really free you up. It can get that blockage free. So these are some suggestions. Hopefully they'll be helpful. If you have any other suggestions, please let me know. You've got my email address here, or let your facilitator know. Share them with the group because we want to break through this writer's block if it happens. Thank you so much, and good luck with your writing.